Her name still circulates centuries after her death, not because we know what she did, but because we are certain of what she was supposed to be: a monster, a woman soaked in blood, a villain so extreme she no longer feels human. Elizabeth Bathory did exist. She was accused, she was imprisoned, and she died without ever standing trial. But everything else, the numbers, the rituals, the blood, comes from stories told long after her voice was taken away. Tonight, we are not asking whether the legend is frightening. We are asking why it was necessary, because some ghosts don't haunt castles, they haunt history itself.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of They're Still Here. I'm David,
And I'm Jesse.
and I know tonight's episode started off a little bit different than usual. However, our favorite co host, Jesse, has decided to take a chance at writing her own episode. And I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was a great idea. So, hey, she's going to be the presenter this time.
So hopefully I don't mess it up completely.
Oh, I don't think you will. I trust you.
That makes one of us.
So, So I would say that I'm in the dark on this episode and I don't know what we're talking about. However, I do. Only because I'm the one that records on my computer. So she had to read the cold open to me. So now I know.
I know. He got his full blown spoiler at the beginning.
Booyah. Can't keep secrets from me. However,
You're the boss man.
yeah. So we are diving into Elizabeth Bathory today. And I'm pretty
Yes, we
excited
are.
about that one. You know, I know we mentioned it on the last episode, mentioned a little bit about her. You know, the original vampire, the OV, if I may, you know.
The OV, I love it.
Yeah.
Very
OV,
nicely done, sir.
original vampire. And for those
That's
for
awesome.
those that don't know what that is Ice-T's original gangster
But changed for our purposes.
for the vampire.
Because a vampire.
So, excuse me. So Jesse,
Don't die on us now.
oh, I will try not to, you know. Um, Why don't you go ahead and take us through kind of the beginning of Elizabeth Bathory?
All right. So, just to let you guys know, Elizabeth Bathory was also known as Lady Bathory. She was also considered the Countess of Blood. She's been named so many different things when it comes down to pop culture references to anything else. And that's actually what I'm going to talk about here shortly. Because Elizabeth Bathory has been remembered for centuries, like I said, as the Blood Countess. She was a noblewoman who ruled from behind castle walls in the Kingdom of Hungary, and according to legend, tortured young girls, drained them of their blood, and bathed in it to preserve her youth. Her name has been sorry about that, guys. Synonymous with sadism and excess. She is often described as the most prolific female serial killer in history. This image appears in gothic novels, horror films, heavy metal lyrics, and modern true crime in modern true crime retellings. It is so familiar that it feels inevitable.
And the big thing with Elizabeth Bathory, at least from what I know, I mean, there's a million true crime podcasts out there that talk about it, right? And
Yes.
just the overall, uh, you know, prolific nature of her as a serial killer, right?
Yeah. Well,
However,
that's the reason
it's
why, like I said, they also named her like as a vampire because of her use for the blood.
right. And when you really look at it, though, how often are these stories embellished, right? And that's something that we always get into on this stream is the embellishment of stories. And well, I'm sorry, not stream, that's the live stream. We get into it on this podcast. Also, I know we've been coughing a lot. We're both still dealing with this cold or whatever the hell it is. And
The area that we live in is called the Ohio River Valley, and it's the Ohio River Valley crud is what we call
yeah,
it because of our weather is never balanced. It goes up and down a lot, and it's flu season or sinus infection or the list goes on.
I always tell
So
people
I
it's
apologize.
just it's just the Ohio River Valley's yearly attempted murder charge.
Facts.
It's awful, man. So
And
bear
that's the
with
reason why I've
us.
got a cough drop. So if you hear
Yep.
some noises, it's usually me with the cough drop.
Yeah, I know it's not exactly ideal, but I wanted to go ahead and address it because I know we're gonna
I
end up
appreciate it,
doing it
David.
the whole time.
Because I'm
And
like, don't
so,
cough, don't cough, don't cough. Nope, I had to cough.
yep. Well, it's like I keep looking over at my software and I keep seeing it go up every time I sniffle, and I'm like, oh shit, they're gonna ask it. People aren't gonna like that. I'm sorry.
We apologize in advance.
Right? Something
It
like
was
that
either
anyway.
we would have to wait until the weather changes for both of us to not have allergy problems or sinus issues, or just tough it out. And I
Okay,
apologize.
so the issue comes in is if we waited until the weather changed, though,
It won't be for months.
well, we would have to wait until the weather changed and then didn't change back. So,
Facts.
because our weather has been so all over the place this year,
Yeah,
it's,
now it's like freezing temperatures, and we're getting a second winter.
yeah.
And it's like I said, flu season is the best way to put it because the weather's going up and down so much that
Mhm.
everybody's system is out of whack.
Yeah, flu season and tax season are the same thing here. It's awful.
Facts. Facts.
So, but yeah, I
So
mean,
back on
really,
topic.
yeah, back to topic, I digress. you know, I've known a little bit about Elizabeth Bathory, growing up and all that. We studied it. We studied the story in school and everything.
Yes.
Um, and then, like you pointed out here, that she's been, basically immortalized in all of these different mediums,
Yes,
right?
she has.
And so, I mean, I'm a big metal fan, right?
Hmm.
And literally just before this on stream, we were talking about the album by Cradle of Filth that did
Yes.
that. I know that album. I love that album. I didn't realize it was about her.
Yes.
I thought it was pretty cool. So, you know, it's those little real world tie-ins that are always a lot of fun with this. And so now that I'm seeing it from the other side, where I'm the one sharing it with you, and now I'm really excited. So this
Well,
is
like I
great.
said, you never know what references you're going to come across that was actually referencing her. Everything. Well, I mean, a big one was the movie Stay Alive. That one's actually I love it because it blends in video games with horror, and also it talks about Lady Bathory.
Yeah.
And growing up, like I said, reading about her stories and everything that went on with her always fascinated me. And so anytime there was little things about it, like referencing her as like she was one of the original vampires, or there's some movies that even said she was like related to Dracula. Just little tie-ins like that which crack me up. Um yeah, I see you. I see you.
It's got the
You know what I'm talking about.
it's got the cool little thing about it though that Bram Stoker's Dracula, right,
Yes.
has references to Elizabeth Bathory, right?
Yes,
So that was what, 1897, I think. I think it was
I believe so.
1897 when that book came out. But yeah, there's a lot that was drawn from her story for
Mhm.
the vampire lore and legend that we know today, right?
But when it comes
Now,
down to the other part, she was well, the a lot of people say that she was just kidnapping young girls, or she was having them delivered to her to sacrifice them and use like I said, to preserve her youth. That she was killing
mhm,
these women and soaking and bathing in their blood.
mhm,
Now there's stories that it was young children, from that to it was just virgins. I mean, you never know. But there's also like, if you ever see those moments in movies, and they might not reference her, like say it's Lady Bathory, but just the actions itself
mhm.
references her.
Right,
Because like if you ever seen the movie Hostel 2,
which I have not.
yeah, one of the women, well, spoiler alert, guys.
So, real quick, how old is this movie?
Hostel 2?
Yeah.
Oh, dear lord.
What was that, like 2008, 2010, something like that?
2007.
2000, oh, pretty daggone close, wasn't I?
2007. Yeah,
I've
you were
never seen
close.
the movie, but I was pretty close. But the point is, if you haven't seen this movie in 19 years that it's been out, like me,
Oh, quit it. You're
we're
making me
all
feel
gonna
old.
we're all gonna accept the spoiler at this point. Sorry, guys.
Okay, I'll give you that. But there's a scene where one of the
Mhm,
women that spent all this money to kill another person, because that's the whole premise of the movie. Where these rich people, they get the opportunity to kill someone and get away with it scot-free type ordeal.
right.
I apologize. But happens is she ends up paying this money for them to kidnap a girl that they find out that's a virgin, and that's what she uses her for. She's chained upside down, and basically she guts her and bathes in her blood.
Mhm,
So it's another reference point, even though she was nicknamed Miss Bathory for premise of, like, they never really use their real names in the scenes and stuff like
right.
that. Like, not the actresses' names, but the character names.
Yeah.
So they had a
I
code
understand
name.
what you stood.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's stuff like that in movies and everything else that they've always kind of tied in and referenced and brought up.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of that, like bathing in the blood of children or this, that, and the other. I mean, it's
Hmm.
it's it's all over the place, especially in horror. And
Oh yeah,
honestly, you can take it back to this situation, this story of Elizabeth Bathory, you
pretty
know.
close.
And so,
Well, yeah, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
um,
Okay.
yeah,
Don't mind us. We're a little bit squirrel brained as well. So,
a little bit.
okay, a lot of it. Okay, so within that history with pop culture references to music, I mean, the list goes on. You never know what you're going to know meaning about a song or anything unless you actually look it up and find out what they were referencing. Like you said, you didn't know that album was actually speaking of Lady Bathory the whole entire time.
Right.
So, yeah, historians agree on several critical points. Elizabeth Bathory was a real person. She was accused of severe cruelty and murder. She was imprisoned without a public trial and died in confinement. At the same time, the figure remembered today, the blood soaked monster of legend, was shaped as much by rumor, politics, and fear as by verifiable fact. To understand Elizabeth Bathory, we must tell two stories at once: the story that survived in legend and the story preserved in the historical record. The distinction between the two matters.
That's for sure. I mean, when you really look at especially something this old, right? Because this was
Mhm.
what, the 1500s, I think, the late 16th century, something like that.
Um, yeah, it's around there
Yeah.
because
So,
she
I
was
mean, when
born in
you,
I think it was 1560. I think is
yeah, I
what I
think
read.
so. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get to it.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you look at these legends particularly, right, especially these older legends, kind of like we brought up with the idea of the vanishing hitchhiker, right?
Mhm.
Where just over time the legend morphs, whether that's because of fear, whether that's because, teenagers are talking to each other, right? We all know how teenagers are.
We
Fucking
were
crazy
one.
sometimes. Yeah. It is what it is, right? You're nothing but raging hormones and anger half the time.
Yes.
But
Half?
it's like, yeah, half the time. I say half the time because I'm giving people benefit of the doubt, okay? I'm being nice. But we all
Maybe
we
for
all
our
know how that
generation.
was. Yeah, we all know how that was though, right? Like,
That is true.
and especially as time goes on, it's one reason why I say history inspires legend. That's Price Paranormal Research Group's, motto is history inspires
Yeah,
legend because history doesn't
because it's
make the
true.
legends. People do, right? However,
Yeah.
that history does inspire it,
Yes.
And so the idea that this figure that they created of the, monster of Elizabeth Bathory, right?
Mhm.
The first vampire, right? This,
Yeah.
that, and the other. It makes sense that it would be more focused on the folklore than it would be actual historical record, right?
Yes.
And I don't know a whole lot about the world that she lived in, but I do know that there were, being that time frame, I don't know a lot about Hungary at that time, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and so I guess we'll have to see what you found on the societal norms and everything on that before I can really make an assessment on it. You know what I mean? If that
Yeah,
makes
which
sense.
makes I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, because it's a hard thing is trying to grasp everything that happened back then compared to what we deal with today. Especially, when it comes down to like you said, I mean, from okay, so point A of what she actually did and what she was tried for and everything else compared
Mhm.
to point B, which is the legend, the fear, the exaggeration of said stories. And hell, it could have been like say, that you're gonna laugh. Think about it
Ha
this
ha
way.
ha.
Oh shush. Parents keeping their children in line by
Oh
using
yeah.
her story as a fear thing to keep them
You
from, like, staying out late at night or anything like that. She's
you
gonna
look at
come and take you from, like, the woods
La
or something,
Llorona.
you never know.
La Llorona. I'm terrible at Spanish. Sorry guys.
No,
Um
La Llorona.
yeah, yeah. The lady in black, right? The weeping woman.
Yeah,
That
the
was
one we
kind of the
talked about.
same idea, right? Well,
Yeah,
we've talked about her a little bit, but
just a
we
little
haven't done
bit.
a full episode on her yet. We're going to.
Yet.
We're going,
Keyword.
yes, yes, keyword is yet. We're going to, I just don't know when yet. Um, but a lot of times those stories do end up being just, hey, you better behave. Otherwise, Krampus is going to come in and put you in a sack and beat the fuck out of you. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
it's kind of the same deal. And
Mhm.
so, I mean, why don't you tell us a little bit more about, where she came from and just kind of like
Yeah,
that world?
okay. So, Elizabeth lived in the late 16th century Hungary, a world already saturated with violence. The kingdom was fractured by constant war, caught between the expanding Ottoman Empire to the south and the Habsburg monarchy to the west. And I hope I said that right because Habsburg, I think.
Yeah,
I'm
Habsburg.
horrible with names. David's the one that's a lot better with names. Let's see.
It,
So villages were burned, populations displaced, famine was common, and death was an everyday reality.
and I mean, that sounds like late 16th century just about everywhere, though. I mean,
You're probably
especially
not
during the
wrong.
time of the Ottoman Empire, right? Well,
Hmm.
I mean, really any major empire when you're looking at it. But,
Yeah,
there was a lot going on at that point in time, right? There
facts.
were a lot of problems. And
Hmm.
so it makes sense that it's already just kind of a rough go of things, right?
Yeah.
And so,
So, the best way, I mean, the good way to put it is also this was a feudal society in which nobles wielded extraordinary power and peasants and servants possessed very little legal protection.
sounds familiar.
Corporal punishment was lawful. Judicial torture was an accepted practice. The practice. Wow, words are bad today. Um, Deaths from disease, malnutrition, exposure, and beatings were tragically common across large estates. Cruelty was not shocking in this world, it was routine. This context is essential because many of the acts later attributed to Elizabeth Bathory, harsh discipline, confinement, physical punishment, were not unusual for her time. What made her different was not necessarily what happened, but how it was remembered.
Exactly. And I can really see that, right?
Mhm,
Because you figure during that time, because you figure this is the late, 1500s, right?
mhm, yes.
How many peasants were treated really well at that point in time, right? Especially by nobility. This is the
Well, you're
time
not
of
wrong, not a lot.
this is the time
If
of
you
kiss my
weren't
boot,
yeah,
right?
yeah, if you
And
weren't part of that
it's
bloodline or anything else like that or noble
mhm,
blood, you were basically
you were shit on
dirt.
the bottom of their shoe.
You yeah,
I mean, you were a
I
bug.
mean, malnutrition is just basically very I mean, it's not wrong because, I mean, even like you said, corporal punishment was one of those things that was used, so even if you say you were trying to feed your family and you were hunting and you
Hmm.
got caught for hunting on their grounds,
Yep.
you were killed.
Depending, yes. And sometimes they would just take your hand. And it's kind of the same idea, because I'm sure everybody kind of knows the story Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, right? Where,
Yep.
if you were caught stealing, they took your hand, right? It was still during that
Mhm.
time. And for those that don't know, corporal punishment is just physical punishment, right?
Yes.
It sounds more official than it actually was, but like a good version to kind of give you an example is, spankings. That's corporal punishment, right? It it's just a
Nowadays.
physical response, right? That's nowadays it's not so much, yeah, we're not talking about that, Jesse. Behave.
What?
This is a PG-13 podcast. But
I didn't say nothing. I'm
no, it
innocent.
was it was the look.
I'm glad you
So,
guys can't see the look.
oh, don't worry. One episode we might do a video. We'll see.
Oh god.
Drop it in the comments and let me know if you want to see that.
Oh, great.
So, but and then during this time as well, you look at disease and malnutrition and beatings and this, that, and the other, right? That kind of cruelty was normal back then. That makes total sense. However, it also depends when it's in the historical record. And you see this a lot across the board, whether
Mhm.
they liked you or not.
Yes.
Because, like, for instance, you look at Vlad the Impaler.
Aw, you had to bring him up because that's another one I wanna do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Vlad the Impaler is he's more of a political thing than a legend for the most part. But
Well, his
I
real
would
name
like,
was Blood Countess the 3rd.
yeah, and I would like to
I did a
talk about
research
him.
paper on him in
Yeah,
college.
but like overall, like yes, was he very brutal? Yeah, he could be. However, he wasn't necessarily all bad, right? Like,
No,
and
not
so
completely. He
yeah,
actually stood for his people and everything else, but
exactly.
I mean, enemies, he proved his point by, leaving,
Hmm.
decapitated heads on pikes.
Right. Well, and one of the best ways that I've ever shown this idea, right, is
Mhm.
looking at history and how someone is remembered, right?
Yes.
Okay. You're aware of Volkswagen.
Yeah, of course.
You know who started Volkswagen, right?
The Germans.
The People's Workers Front, which was
Yes.
a Nazi party creation. that was aligned
Yes, it
with
came from
them, right?
Germany.
But just because it was started by the Nazis, does that mean that it's immediately bad?
No.
Exactly. Because people tend to pick and choose how they want to remember things, right? People
Well,
love the
that and you
Autobahn.
got to remember, a lot of people want to pick and choose what they want to make their own like make up their own history to make it factual.
Hmm.
I use
Yeah.
factual loosely in air quotes
Hmm.
for their own agendas.
Exactly. And it's like,
So
you know who writes history, right?
it's the pen holders.
The winners.
It used to be.
It's the winners.
Yeah.
The winners write history. I mean, you look at information on the Gaelic Wars from Caesar's point of view.
Yeah.
Of course, he's going to make them look like you know, backwoods
Idiots.
bums.
Like that's what he thought of a lot of
Yeah.
people.
Well, not just that, it also justified what he did, right?
Well, yeah, he was
And
doing it
that's
to use that for his own benefit, but yes.
yeah, and that's the thing, right? And that's kind of what you run into a lot with what I just personally know about Elizabeth Bathory, right?
Mm,
Was she possibly knucking futs? Possibly. But I don't know. I wasn't there, and I don't know enough about more of her life. I just know the legends, right?
okay. Well, I mean, I can give you a little bit more information about her, like when she was
Let's
born
hear
and
it.
everything.
Let's do it.
Okay. So Elizabeth Bathory was born on August 7th, 1560. So I did get it right. I did
Oh,
remember. Yes. Okay. So she was born into one of the most powerful aristocratic families in Central Europe. The Bathory family was not minor nobility. They produced military commanders, high ranking officials, and kings. One of Elizabeth's relatives, Stephen Bathory, became King of Poland and Grand Duke of Lithuania. Power was not something Elizabeth married into, it was something she was born into. Unlike most women of her era, Elizabeth received a formal education. She learned to read and write, corresponded fluently with officials, and managed legal and financial matters. Letters written in her own hand survive to demonstrate literacy, administrative competence, and authority. Later writers would claim that she showed signs of cruelty or instability from childhood. And some even suggested she suffered from seizures or violent tendencies. These claims, however, are retrospective and speculative. Blah, blah. I can't talk tonight. Speculatively.
speculative.
Speculative. Thank you.
Yep.
Words are hard. I have it up for a reason so I can keep tabs on
Hey,
what I need because
it's all good.
it doesn't help sinuses are draining.
Yeah,
So horrible.
right.
Sorry, everybody. Back on topic.
Uh,
They do not appear in contemporary records and should be treated with caution. What is documented that is Elizabeth was intelligent, capable, and trained to manage estates.
And the
So
whole
she wasn't
idea.
dumb
Yeah.
at all. She was
Yeah,
very
no.
highly intelligent. She was very like like I said, it was she was born in power. So she had a what's the word I'm looking for?
Je ne sais quoi.
It's basically yeah, she had this like
she was
level of like
she
she
was
had to
on a
represent her
different
family.
level. Yeah.
Yes, she had to be.
Hmm.
So, other than having to learn all this stuff growing up with tutors, teachers, everything, because she had to hold that stature, like she had to represent that family name.
Right.
She couldn't be considered weak. She couldn't be considered dumb by any means. She basically, it's instead of being treated like a normal woman by that time, because normally they would just be trained in the arts of like, taking care of a husband, taking like making sure they know how to cook, clean, whatever.
More
But
than
that they
just a
were
baby
going to
machine.
basically, yes, she was not
Hmm.
going to be like, sold off to be married to whoever to unite families for strength. and combine lands or anything like that. She was
Hmm.
actually like stepping up, and she was treated more like a man would have been back then because the
Well,
family name. Like
to an
she was
extent,
up there to an extent, yes, but
yeah,
she was handling
because
more than normal.
mhm, yeah, yeah, and one thing too that you brought up is the idea of you know that there were writers that claimed that she showed signs of cruelty or instability in her childhood
By the
years, right?
handwriting.
However, here's the interesting thing about that, right? If we're taking
Mhm.
this legend pretty much at face value, and
Yes.
like, the fact that these, for lack of a better way to explain it, these murders took place,
Mhm.
it's not completely unreasonable to say that. Because
Mhm.
oftentimes, when you do look into the psychology of it, it usually starts in childhood.
Yeah,
It doesn't just
normally,
blossom out of nowhere. There's
right,
always
usually it's
signs.
a loss of empathy, there's the signs of, like, animal cruelty,
Hmm.
there's, um, that well, like you said, like a lot of people say, there's a fine line between someone who's a genius and not. I mean, someone who is yeah, like because a lot of serial killers, just to bring that out there, um, were registered to have high IQs.
But then you also
I mean,
have a
prime
lot of them
example.
that had low IQs. I mean, you look at like Ed
Mhm.
Gein, you look at, I believe Ed Kemper had a low IQ. John Wayne Gacy had a low
Yes.
IQ, right? When you look at it, right, I don't think the IQ so much matters, right?
Well,
I
it's
think
just
it's
that they know how
just
to,
it's the
like, handle
personality,
things and everything else. Well, that too.
right?
But, I
You
mean, there's
know,
some of them that were actually classified to have, like, a higher IQ.
yeah,
They have that fine line between genius and, like, well, in this case, a lot of people become, like, killers. But,
right.
it's like that line where you snap. But in
Hmm.
this case, like, say, let's see, Charles Manson. That's a prime example.
He was just
He would have
nuttier
basically
than squirrel
became
turds.
he was, but he was very, very highly intelligent. Like,
Oh
it was
yeah,
stupid.
oh yeah.
Um, because he manipulated people. Hell, he could have become a cult leader. I mean, most of the cult leaders were
I mean,
known to
he
be
was
highly
on his
intelligent,
way.
manipulative, knew how to use stuff. But you were not wrong.
Mhm.
But I guess we'll digress from the newer ones and go back to the old.
Hey, right. And it's like, but the whole point of that is
Premise of it, yeah.
right. It's the point of the violent tendencies, right? It's something that she could have displayed in her youth, right? It's just, and so
Yeah.
even to say that, even though they don't appear in contemporary records, honestly, the late 1500s, not something that's very well documented as it is, right?
Plus, she
Now,
could have been going
granted,
out and killing animals and nobody would have blinked an eye.
yeah,
They would have
right.
thought anything different.
Because
She
also
grew up in a
she's
violent time.
but she's also nobility.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? Like
Well, especially
that's
with her stature of
yeah,
nobility.
that's literally what it is, right? I mean, you
Mhm.
you think about it in a way, how much of this is actually going to be documented? Because
And a lot of
what
people are
are
not
you
gonna
going to
speak
have?
ill of them either.
Are you going to have a servant come up and be like, "Hey, your daughter is a little nutty,"
No.
like, buddy? Like, and that's something else to keep in mind during this whole thing when you look at the norms of the culture back then, the
Yes.
social hierarchy, the power structure, and kind of the caste system that was there. You know,
Mhm.
there if good luck if you talk shit about nobility.
Truth.
So yeah, people are going to keep their mouth shut.
If they know what's good for them.
Yeah, I don't see shit. I don't say shit. Right? And
Exactly.
that's the
Stitches
point.
get stitches.
Exactly.
Stitches get
Snitches get
stitches.
stitches. And so, I mean, it is something to take with a grain of salt, right? Like, I'm not saying that, oh, yeah, for sure she did this stuff, but
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Mhm.
It's kind of like the whole idea of how many food tasters or chefs back then were killed because of a food allergy.
You are not wrong.
I mean, It's
because
something
there
to
was a
consider.
lot.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right. I mean, they didn't understand how that worked. So what? They just thought that the food taster died because he was poisoned, but in reality, he just had a peanut allergy, right? It is what it
Yeah.
is, right? So, anyway, I digress. It's your episode. I'm
No,
stepping
you're
down off my
good. I
soapbox.
appreciate it. No, here, boom, it's back. Go.
Right.
Because I like it because we can look at it two different sides of the coin when it comes
Hmm.
down to a lot of information, especially like over stuff that you know more about or I know more about. It's nice to have that back and forth
Right,
because the
right, right,
fact that you think of things that I don't think of and vice versa.
right. And all you, what you have a really good habit of doing is figuring out where I'm going before I get there. And it bugs me because like it's
My
like, hey,
bad.
we'll get to section 8 at some point. Okay, just hold on. I'm
I'm
trying to
sorry. I don't even read ahead and I know
I'm
these
trying
things. I just can't help it.
I'm trying to do that to you today, and I have not done well with it. So
My bad. I don't have mine numbered
you're
as
right.
much as like I don't have the task list that easily put up there like you do.
And so,
All right, let's see. So, to go back on track with Lady Bathory,
mhm,
let's see. So, by the early 17th century, rumors began to circulate. Servants were said to be punished harshly. Young women allegedly disappeared, and deaths occurred on Elizabeth's estates. These claims are often cited as evidence of her guilt. But the reality is more complicated. Yes, servants did die on her properties, but servants died on every large estate in this period. Mortality rates were high everywhere. There is no surviving evidence that deaths on Bathory lands were statistically unusual. Nevertheless, rumors grew. Local clergy complained of cruelty. Neighbors whispered. Stories spread, often without dates, names, or firsthand witnesses. In a deeply religious society, cruelty was not merely immoral, it was sinful, and sin demanded a villain.
and that's pretty common for that point in time.
Very much so.
Now, one thing to keep in mind. This is one thing that I do know about Elizabeth Bathory, right? And it kind of helps kind of set the tone for how it all works out, right?
Yeah.
She got married at 15, right? I
Yeah.
know that. I know that for sure. And the guy was called the Black Knight, right? I think there's something in here, right, about it. Yeah, yeah. Ferenc Nadasdy, right? He was a Hungarian nobleman and a military commander, right?
Yeah.
And he spent a lot of his life fighting the Ottomans, right? And they got married. And when he went away to war, she started to rule his estates,
Yes.
right? And so when because I was thinking you said Elizabeth's estates, right? It was actually
Hmm.
the Natus that the inward estate. Oh no, don't like that. NAD estates. There we go. Whew.
Well, I mean, technically,
That
this is
almost went really
before
bad.
before that happened. It was within it was still Bathory locations.
Well, no, this was
Are you talking about
so
after, like after
so
she
yeah.
got married and stuff?
So after she got married, she moved in with
Okay,
him on his estates, right?
that's
I
right.
know
That's right.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it so there is surviving evidence and estate records that confirm that she administered justice, managed the finances, collected rents, oversaw the servants, maintained
Hmm.
order, right? And she did that for decades, right? And she exercised a level of authority that was extraordinary for a woman of her time, right? And that's something that people didn't handle well.
No.
They just really did, right? And so, of
Right.
course, people are going to look at her. They're going to say, oh, that woman, right? Like it's clutching your pearls, right? Yeah. Oh,
Sorry. Oh.
and it's like, but really, when you look at it, right? to me, she became, now, again, I'm not saying that she didn't commit these murders or whatever.
Atrocities.
Right. However, I will say, just given the standpoint that she was in and the time frame and what she was doing for the estates, of course she's going to be the villain. They're
Yes.
going to try to find ways to get rid of her or to take over it, right?
Right.
And so, um, and so that's kind of the biggest thing with this. Like, there's going to be complaints of cruelty. There's going to be complaints of, of, oh, well, where did her servants go? Right.
Yeah.
And, and it's just a matter of time frame and
Well, you're
social
not
norms.
wrong. So, speaking of that,
Mm-hmm.
in 1610, King Matthias II ordered an
Dose.
investigation into Elizabeth Bathory.
So what I'm hearing is
Officially,
number two.
yeah, number 2.
Number, who does number two work for? Anyway, sorry.
I love that scene. So officially, the investigation was about justice.
Mhm.
Unofficially, it intersected with politics and money.
Called
The
it.
crown owed Elizabeth's family a substantial debt, and confiscating her estates would conveniently eliminate that obligation.
What do you
The
know?
investigation was led by, and I promise, and I'm sorry, I want to say this in advance because I'm
Would you
going to
like me
butcher this
to?
name.
Would you like me
So
to try it?
it's Grigory Thurzo. I think that's correct.
Georgie. Georgie?
Is,
Georgie? Perzo.
did I say it wrong?
It's GYO. I don't remember what the double dot over the O is, but
Grigory.
maybe. Mr. Thurzo.
There we go. The Palestine of Hungary, one of the most powerful men in the kingdom. Thurzo did not conduct a public trial. Instead, he gathered testimony.
So, what that means to our viewers is he just got hearsay. He gathered
Yeah.
testimony. He gathered eyewitness accounts.
Yeah,
From,
anything and everything that would work for their advantage,
yeah.
basically, in this one,
I mean,
because
that,
of
and
fact that there was no public trial. They want to
yeah,
kind of sweep it under the rug and then take what's theirs
yeah. And
by
it's like, and
basically
that's,
throwing her under the bus.
yeah. And it's like, my whole thing with this, I know it sounds like we're really defending Elizabeth Bathory at this point.
Not, it's just that's
It's just, these are
the way it
things to keep,
sounds.
yeah, these are things to keep in mind, right? So, like, kind
Yeah,
of like when we're looking into doing an investigation of any kind, right? We always take the
we're
moment
skeptics
and say,
for the most
hey,
part.
what else could this be, right? What does this point to?
Yes,
Is it
yes.
necessarily a ghost? Is it maybe just a bad fuse box causing a lot of
Mhm.
EMF? Is it infrasound causing, feelings of dread, right? Is it
Yes.
paint fumes because they use the latex based paint, right?
Oh God, do they
It's,
have a gas leak?
yeah, exactly. And it's like we
Mhm.
have to take all of that in consideration. So when we sit here and we do this research, we can't help but be like, okay, well, when you take everything into consideration, what changes, right? What's
Exactly.
different? And it's kind of like in this situation, right? Like you said, his his or the crown owed
Mhm.
a large debt. What's the
To them,
easiest way to get away from a debt?
get rid of the people that has the IOU.
Take the debt collector's head.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, that's especially in that time. Now, I'm not saying do that now. Do not do that now. No,
Oh no, this is
no.
back then. Whenever
This is
this
this
was
is
something that just
1610,
happened. Yeah.
right? And
Please don't take our no.
no.
No means
Um,
no. No means no.
however, however, it's also very strange that there was no public trial. There was
Like I said, they
no
wanted to sweep that under the rug. It's just
all there
that's how
was
it sounds.
testimony, you
Yes.
know? And it's really obvious at this point kind of what's happening to her,
Yeah.
right? And so I'd be kind of interested to really hear more about what was collected in that testimony.
Well, you're about to, because
Just
more than 300 witness statements were collected.
oh
300. Can you believe that?
wow. Yeah, like
I mean,
actually I can.
especially for back then, that's a lot. That's like the whole village, basically, is a good way to put it, or I
Well,
guess
the
the
entire grounds.
yeah,
I mean, because you figure
servants. I mean everything.
these were massive estates.
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
huge.
exactly.
So at first glance, this seems overwhelming, as we reacted. Um,
Uh-huh.
but when examined closely, the testimony reveals significant problems. Most witnesses did not claim to have seen Elizabeth commit acts of violence. Instead, they were repeated what they had heard from others.
Objection,
Statements,
hearsay.
right, exactly. So statements frequently began with phrases such as "I was told," "it was said," or "people believed."
You
Some
know,
witnesses were tortured, or witnesses were
legends.
tortured. Well, yeah, that's a good way to put it. It is legends.
Uh-huh.
And the sad thing is, it's like some stuff that happens, and I mean, honestly, it's a fear factor thing, but in this case, it really happened because witnesses were tortured during their questioning.
Yeah.
So, and here's the messed up thing: others were children. Only a small number claimed firsthand observation, and their accounts often contradicted one another. Most critically, as wow, I can't talk tonight. Elizabeth herself was never interrogated. She was never allowed to testify, and she was never tried in court.
Golly gee, I wonder why. It couldn't be that massive debt that the crown owed. And that's kind of the thing. Like
This
I
was
don't
back then. Don't come again. Don't come for us now.
yeah, like
The
I
way we're talking.
just like it's this is one of those things where it's well, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like this whole thing stinks,
Yeah.
right? It just does. The whole idea that it was I mean, granted, justice back then was much different than it is now,
Yes.
obviously, right? Because who had the final say?
Usually the
The
crown.
crown.
Hmm.
Who owed a debt?
And you don't go against the crown.
And who owed a debt?
The crown.
The crown. And who did the investigation? Basically,
The
the
crown.
motherfucking crown.
Hmm. They
I
brought
mean,
somebody in to do it.
it just, it stinks. It just does,
Yeah.
right? Like, and it's so hard for me to say, hey, she did terrible things because it's like the winners write history.
Yes. Because you said
I'm
it
just
best.
saying.
You did. So, due to that, her not being able to testify, she can't plead her innocence, nothing. When it came down to it, in December of 1610, Elizabeth Bathory was arrested and immediately confined. Her servants were tried and some were executed. But here's the thing: Elizabeth was not. Executing her would have caused significant political upheaval and angered powerful relatives. Instead,
Shocker.
she was silenced.
Shocker. You mean
Yeah,
to tell me that the people in power didn't actually do justice? They were just like, hey, keep your mouth shut
yeah.
because we said so.
Because
And
the
we
whole
said
thing
that
was she
you're,
was, like I said, she was arrested and locked away in confinement. So that's the reason why, if you ever notice a lot of the storytellings about Lady Bathory or anything like that, is she was lived in this tower. She was confined to a tower.
yeah.
It was like the Tower of London or the Tower of whatever. I mean, it had that same aspect to it. I mean, if you ever see the movie Stay Alive, it's similar because the fact there is a situation where she's in a tower. So
Mhm.
in her confinement, like before that, and like that's the reason why they always talked about how she had torture chambers or all this other stuff or all the secret locations and everything else that was all fixed up. But it, as you can see, this is what occurred. So yeah, she was confined to a jail. It could have been a tower. You never know. I mean, that's how they could have done stuff. But yeah, she was silenced.
Right. And I'm pretty sure if I remember reading right, she was confined to uh the castle. It was
Yes,
she had like a wing or rooms in the castle or something like that that she was
she
confined
was at
to.
least taken care of for her final days. I mean, she wasn't
Right.
like, thrown into the basement to never
I
be
think it
remembered.
I think it depends on which story you read. I think I've heard
Yeah,
both.
that is also
So,
true.
although that's the other thing about looking into something so far in
So
the
old.
past. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
can't get exact
surviving records are really hard. Like, I don't even know
yes.
if we have an accurate, uh,
Timeline?
an accurate victim count, even,
No, we
right?
don't.
Yeah, I don't even think we do. And so, I mean, because I think that's the thing, because I believe there are actual, uh,
Because
I
we've
believe
got
there
the
were
actual age
victims.
of death. Like, I actually know how old she was when she died. But the list of victims, no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of
I
course,
mean,
we're going to
it
know when she
it could have
died.
been 2. It could have been, like, 1 or 2 people
Or
that
it could have
disappeared.
been, honestly, it could have
Or it could have
been,
been 100.
three, 400. Or
Yeah.
like, what, give me one second. I'm going to look this up. Um,
Yeah, go
if
ahead.
you want to talk a little bit about the legend itself, I'm going to look and see what I can find real quick and see if I can just
Yeah, I can
happen to
bring up the
find
blood
anything.
legend.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as we were talking about, this is where legend takes over. According to later stories, Elizabeth Bathory tortured young girls, drained them of blood, and bathed in it to preserve her beauty. This image is the most enduring part of her myth, and the reason she became a Gothic icon. Yet no surviving court document from her lifetime mentions blood bathing. No 17th century testimony describes it. The story appears more than a century later, introduced in 18th century histories influenced by sensationalism and Gothic imagination. Sorry, guys. Um, Modern historians overwhelmingly agree that the blood bathing legend is fiction. That does not mean Elizabeth was kind, but it does mean that the most infamous detail of her story was added later because it was unforgettable and because it fit cultural fears about female cruelty and excess.
Yeah. And I did actually find something on this. So
Oh, good, good.
they were actually charged with 80 murders. Her and four other servants were.
Well, it's
However,
because the fact apparently her servants were
were the ones that,
gathering
yeah.
these women.
Um, but but that's what they were officially charged with, and that's what they were tried for.
Okay.
Well, except for
Well, that makes sense.
Lady Bathory,
The
because
other part. Yeah.
she didn't get a chance to even have a trial, which bothers
No,
me.
I think the
But
servants were killed.
um, think so. I believe they were all. No, not all of them. Some of them were executed.
Well, I mean, the ones that
But
were charged with or whatever else, because the fact they
mm,
had to keep a secret one way or another.
but there is a uh, there are claims that she tortured and killed over 650 victims.
See?
But what her official charges were 80. 80
Hmm.
specific murders is what it was.
They probably just used that for all the missing people.
Right. Now, and that's the thing though, we don't exactly know.
True.
Um, we don't exactly know because we don't know
No.
if these were real victims or just people that went missing. However, we do know pretty certain that there were murders that took place.
Yes.
we do
So we can
have
at
that
least give
information.
that a baseline. Because that, I mean,
Hmm.
that, yeah, happened around the same time. Is it coincidence? Yes.
Right,
Could have been her? Maybe.
right,
But that's the one thing that we'll never know.
exactly. And one thing to keep in
And
mind
yeah,
too about this time frame, say for instance, a noble woman was charged with one or two murders of peasants.
yeah, there would have never been a trial.
What you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? Like,
Correct.
try me. And it's
Mhm.
like that was kind of the idea. So if you think about it, it does make sense for them to say, hey, you know, well, now you've got 80, right?
Mhm.
Now you've got 650.
Yeah,
Of course, people are going to look at that differently. And now you've just gained traction for the idea of locking her away,
yeah,
right? So, yeah. But yeah, that's the official number that she was charged with. Her and her um,
servants.
servants were charged with 80.
Okay. See, I
Hmm.
wondered if there was an actual number because I knew
Yeah.
it was. I mean, because it did apparently stretch among like across her properties.
Mhm.
So they would have to gather evidence from all different locations and everything else. But when it comes down to everything else, and you're right, she was imprisoned. Um, so she was actually confined to her rooms, and I apologize, I might butcher this. I think it's Kashish Castle.
Sounds good to me.
Is that pretty close? You think?
It's either that or
It's
it's
or
Sashtis.
it's yeah.
It's
I
got the
was trying to
little
think if it
teal
was either
day.
way
It's got a little teal day thing on
above the
top of the
sea
sea.
at the
Yeah.
beginning. So if anybody knows how to pronounce that correctly, please
Yeah.
correct me.
Anybody that knows Hungarian.
Um, right. Let's see. So the accounts of her imprisonment vary. Some claim she was walled in with only a small opening for food. Others described house arrest under guard. What is certain is that she was isolated and removed from public life. She remained in confinement for approximately 4 years. Elizabeth Bathory died in August of 1614 at the age of 54.
Yeah. And there's actually another story, and I wonder how much of this was kind of uh um how much of this inspired it, right? But it's Loftus
Yeah.
Hall.
Okay.
There is part of that legend is she's shut into the, I think it was the Blue Room or something like that, right? And after she met the quote unquote devil of Loftus Hall, right? When he came to Loftus
Hmm.
Hall. And apparently they had walled her in
Okay.
because she was pregnant out of wedlock with the devil's child, right? Quote unquote.
Yeah.
And so it kind of gives the same feeling of this, where it was, nope, you're just out, you're done.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that was
Well, like you said,
part
it's
of
a
it.
lot more stuff that just adds to it for legend.
Exactly. And you know what inspires legend? What is it? What inspires legend? You should
Go
know
ahead and
this.
say it.
You should know this. I'm testing you.
Well, history does inspire legend.
Exactly. Thank you. I had to make sure you knew
You're
that.
welcome. But your face and everything was too priceless, so I was just cracking up.
We have fun here.
If you guys could see his face, I swear.
You probably would quit listening by now. But anyway,
Oh, shut up.
so so really though, how do you think she should be remembered?
Oh, I mean, there's like I said, there's so much out there from pop culture, from them adding. tidbits to her, like you said, legend, because it is. Um, I mean, it's hard to ascertain how we should perceive her because of the fact that yes, she was imprisoned, but you never get to hear her side of the story with the trial and stuff because of the fact she was silenced. So you
Mhm.
never quite know if A she did it or B she didn't. I
Right.
mean, you never get to hear her side of the story because they like I said, they silenced her.
Hmm.
She was basically in isolation for the rest of her life, for the rest of her days.
Right.
So, she maybe had a servant, but nothing but I doubt it because the fact that anybody she would have spoke to, more facts would have got out. More information maybe would have got out.
Exactly.
So
And that's
so
kind
she
of
was
the big
under lock and
thing,
key.
right? I know it's there's no
But
definitive proof
to
of mass murder, right?
yeah, and it's hard to want to believe, that she committed that much atrocities.
Mhm.
Like that
Well,
much murder over being
I mean,
vain. But at the same time, you never know.
it's not unreasonable for the time frame, though.
No,
It's
it's
not.
not. That's
It's
what
not an
makes it so
unreasonable thought.
hard to decide and everything because of that. It's so it's fucked up. I mean,
It
there's no
is.
other way to
It's
put it.
it's a really hard thing because, like, some people she's
Because life
considered
back
a
then was fucked
monster,
up.
right?
Yeah,
Some people she's considered a monster. Other people, honestly, she was wrong. She
yeah,
was put into a situation where she was not allowed to talk about anything, right? And
no. They
even if you
used her
just
as
look at the
an
time frame,
opportunity.
right? Even
Hmm.
if you look at the time frame, yeah, she may have been harsh. She may have been violent. She may have been,
Yeah,
you know, too hard on her servants, or she may have been seeking the quote unquote fountain of youth, right?
yeah. Because you never
But
know. I mean, hell, you hear about actresses today being just as cruel and abusive
yeah,
and everything else, but you don't hear them getting like
what's
locked
it?
away in a tower.
Well, what's
They
it
just get a
called?
slap on a wrist.
You got the whole adrenochrome conspiracy
Yeah,
theory that's out there too. Like it,
that's true too.
exactly. And that's kind of the big thing, right? And
Yes,
and so really, when you look at that kind of stuff, right? Like it's hard for me to say good or bad on her because there's
agreed.
just not enough information, right?
Well, very few historians today accept the claim that that she murdered hundreds of victims.
Uh,
Some believe she was cruel, possibly even by contemporary standards. Others argue her crimes were exaggerated. Still, others suggest she was framed, or at least selectively targeted for political and financial reasons. What remains undeniable is that there is no definitive proof of mass murder. So, there is, however, abundant evidence of fear of unchecked power, fear of aristocratic excess, and fear of a woman who ruled without apology,
there
which,
it
I mean,
is.
that was a big fear back then.
Exactly. And that's what we've been talking
Um,
about almost this entire time.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong. So, men who committed documented atrocities in this era were remembered as generals, rulers, or warriors. Elizabeth Bathory was remembered as a monster. Monsters are easier to condemn than systems, easier to fear than to understand.
Yeah. I fully agree with that. And like I said earlier, she may have been harsh. She may have been, you know, violent. She may have been a shithead at the end
Yeah,
of the day, right?
a
But
complete bitch. But yeah,
right. But
that's a good way to put it.
honestly, a lot of what we know about her, it doesn't really belong to history. It belongs to legend, right?
Yes.
And really, really the most unsettling part of her story, just to me, and I'm sure you can agree with
Hmm.
this, is not necessarily what she may have done, but how eagerly the world believed she must have done it.
Yeah,
You know,
because of who stated what she'd done.
because, and
So, I mean, who
I
else are
am
you going to
saying
believe?
this, I am
A
saying this as
bystander
a man.
or the crown?
I'm going to say this as a man. A man said it
You're perfectly
in a
fine.
time, in a
Men's
time
word with
where
law.
exactly.
Hmm?
I'm tempted to start up a shirt for the podcast that just says "Justice for Lady Bathory." I'm tempted because, like, the more that you look into this, like,
We'll
yes,
use the
she
full
may have
name
been.
instead of just saying Lady Báthory.
I don't know. I like the idea of justice for Lady Bathory.
Okay.
But anyway,
Hey, you're the boss man. You
hey,
go for
I
it.
wouldn't go that far. Um, but I will say I did thoroughly enjoy this episode.
I'm glad.
I'm going to say well done to our
Thank
co-host,
you.
and
I try.
I think you did well. Everybody else, go ahead and give her some support. Um, I think she did good, and we may end up doing this more often.
Oh God.
So
I will get
un-
to work.
until next time, guys. Oh, one thing I did forget to bring up in the opening today, we have a different merch store up and running right now.
Yes, we
We were
do.
having some trouble out of our original one, so I switched over. Be sure to give that a check out. It's on our link tree, which is going to be in the show notes. Be sure to check that out. And I also have specific, they're still here, t-shirts, hoodies, and even a mug. There's a mug.
Yay.
Yes, there's a mug. It's
This
pretty
mug.
cool. There's a mug. And so be sure to check that out. Pick one up, help support the podcast. You know, we can't do this without you, and we couldn't do this without you. So thank you so much for listening. And Jesse, I'm going to let you have the last word.
You have the
Yep.
last word.
Nope. I want you to say it. What do they need to do?
Well, everybody, just remember to stay safe, stay curious, and we will see you next time.
Oh,
What?
that being said, you
You
guys
always
be
say
sure
it.
to
I knew I was going to mess up.
stay safe, stay curious, and we will see you soon.
See, told you. My name is Jesse. Thank you for tuning in to They're Still Here. Be sure to follow us on all our social media and join our Discord. Check our link tree for all of our links. Our theme is SCP X7X, 6th Floor by Kevin MacLeod and Compotech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. Stay curious, stay safe. We will see you soon.